Hi, I'm Kayla Dale, and my ed giant is Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and he was born on June 28, 1712, in Geneva, Switzerland, and he didn't have the typical upbringing because his mother died a few days after she gave birth to him, and then he was mainly raised by his father until about age of 10, when his dad got into a quarrel with a French captain, and so he decided to leave so he could escape imprisonment. And so Rousseau was raised by his uncle and his aunt, and later became apprenticed as an engraver. And at the age of 16, he left trade to go travel, and he became a Catholic convert, and he spent most of his time growing up in Paris. And some of the main subjects of interest for him were philosophy, music, education, and literature. He composed operas, and he wrote and taught music, and he decided he liked to write, and he entered an essay contest, and so he started writing more. And he moved to Paris in 1745, and that's when he became a music teacher and a copyist. And during this time is when he met Therese Lassier, who was a poorly educated seamstress, and they eventually got married, and she bore 5 children, but they gave all of those children up to adoption because he didn't feel that he could give them the right upbringing. And so one of the most influential works on education that he wrote was called Emily, and in this story it was about a young pupil named Emily, and it was from his birth till his adulthood. And in this book he outlines 5 developmental stages that we go through, and the first one is called the infancy stage, which consists of 0 to 6 years old. And during this stage is when children are taught the use of their senses with experience. And so education is taught by the parents during this stage and not by a tutor or a teacher, and it is important that they develop physically and strongly and use their senses. And then the second stage is boyhood, and that is ages 7 to 9, and during this stage it is important that all children learn to enjoy life, and this is the stage where they learn through and by experience. And then the third stage is pre-adolescent, and this is ages 10 to 12, and the most important aspect of this stage is that this is when the child is ready to receive intellect, and this is when the child needs to gain useful information so they can satisfy their needs and their wants. And then the fourth stage is adolescence, which is ages 13 to 19, and this is where education should shape the heart. He thought this is where emotions and sentiments should develop and where the child should be taught about God. And then finally in the fifth stage, which is adulthood, which is from age 20 onwards, and then this is the aesthetic and moral sense, where he thinks that both of those develop. And he believed that children must be taught naturally, but that they must be taken care of by the parents and protected from unnatural prejudices, authority, and force which surrounds them. And he wrote another thing about a character called Sophie, and he explained how her education differs from Emily's, the boy, and how hers is more focused on theoretical matters, and that men's minds are more suited to that type of thinking. And Rousseau's view was that the relationship between men and women is rooted in the notion that men are stronger and therefore more independent, and that they depend on women because they desire them. And then the contrast is that women both need and desire men. And so Sophie was educated in a way that she'd feel what Rousseau takes to be her natural role as a wife. And so she's more submissive. And even though he advocates that these are like specific gender roles, he's not saying that men are more superior to women, because women have certain talents that men just don't, and so they both have their own like different talents. And so he was a leader of the naturalist movement, and he believed that God made man good and that man should do its best to remain that way and not become corrupt by society. He believed that everyone was born good, but that we live in such a imperfect society so that people are going to get corrupted. And his philosophy of education deals with the developing of the pupil's character and moral sense. And so I really liked that he thinks that children should learn through experience, and I think that's important. And that's my report on Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Bye.